The Untamed.
The Untamed.
So this is just one of those movies
2016.
That, people always send me, and they're like, Griffey loves this movie. And I was like, I've never seen this movie. It pops up on my movies we think you'd like all the time. It's just always omnipresent, right? So when we were talking about the horniness of tedium, right? You're a suburban housewife. You're a girl in a repressive regime. This one, you're just a girl, a wife, a mom, a woman. Your husband's out doing naughtiness. Your brother's out doing naughtiness, right? This movie, if I could explain, it's kind of like that one Adrian Brody scene in Splice, but for a whole movie with like a very complicated soap opera drama behind it.
This is that joke in Parks and Rec when Ron is describing having sex with Tammy too, and he's like, "This is like taking peyote and sneezing for a whole hour." It's exactly like it's this like it's the weirdest.
What a great description!
Is because it's the weirdest, most drawn out thing I've really like in recent memory watched. It's like I sitting down to watch. Okay, I sat down to watch this, and I was just like, Andrea was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to watch this movie, The Untamed. She goes, okay, I'm going to go to bed. I was like, that's probably fine. I do wish she had watched this with me because, like, honestly, the first truly intense moment I remember is watching and be like, that woman is sitting on a mattress with a very long item inside her. Wow. And you're just like, we're starting this. Here we go.
Well, I believe I texted you early in the film, and I was just like, wow. Like, I can't believe because it starts with like the melancholia artistic asteroid shot, and you're like, okay. Dude. It's going to be one of those movies. Then they cut to the bar,
restarted it because I was like, oh shit,
like,
this thing stopped.
Yeah, the old people are like, hey, it's been in there too long, it could hurt her. We cut, it's this girl, titties out, right? She's sitting there up against the barn wall. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is one of those artistic things. We're not going to do it. Oh, God, is that a tentacle slithering down her leg? And then the movie just proceeds to just sex. This movie is non-stop sex. Because then this is the other thing, too. I thought the girl in the barn from the Tentacle went home and got the saddest, like, morning hump from a husband.
Yeah.
Those are two separate women, we learn. And then... here's the thing, right? Essentially, this is a movie where this is, Jay and Silent Bob. Homeboy saw a Martian and he fucked it, right? Like, I would be the first. I'm into it.
There he goes.
That
Homeboy fucked a Martian.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about this movie that I really latched onto, this is not necessarily a sexless people story. I feel like a lot of these kind of marriage, parenting, suburban stories, it's about sexless people, right? People who have lost the joy. What this one really captures is that fear that sex is kind of God's little joke on us, that it's always too short, it's always too pathetic, it's always too selfish, that there's no actual like spiritual connection. It's just two people kind of humping it out quick. And the universe brings down this arch penis from the gods, and it's just like, why are you even trying to have sex with other people? There's a real sad, clawing desperation that I think is better than the sexless version.
I think every other movie we're going to talk about this month probably has more to do with like the repression of sexual urges and like how that's just bottled in the tedium of everyday life. Stepford Wives is a great example of this, that kind of thing. This movie is so much more just exactly you described. It's like, guess what? Cosmic joke. All y'all's dicks suck. And guess what is awesome? This thing's dick. Like, there's just this.
There's the thing. I don't know that you watch it. I'm a Doctor Who fan, right? I'm a big Whovian. And
I've watched Who because of you.
One of the things the show always hints at, right, when a companion comes back or the doctor leaves, is that how can I go back to working at the shop, getting fish and chips, like watching a footy match, when I've traveled the fucking cosmos in time with you? Right. I have seen planets collide. I have seen stars died. I've fucking painted with Vincent van Gogh. How can I go back to working at whatever British Walmart is? How is that supposed to happen? And they talk about it in this yearning manner, right? The same way It's like that one person that you met at a one night stand and you broke their back. They were squirting all over you. It was perfect. But then you never talked again, and you're just like, I got to do the rest of my life pretending that one night it wasn't. But this is like,
I got to do the rest of my life
like
pretending I didn't crush.
It's just, this is an actual more penetrative alien than the Doctor. What? Because that's the other part of the movie, is not only is this alien a sexual reprieve, right? That all these people who are unfulfilled, unhappy, right? Whether it's the gay brother who has a very shady relationship, right? But he's trying to find selfhood without this toxic relationship. Same with the wife. Same with this young girl. They're all looking for something. At a certain point, this alien forsakes them and is like, I don't need you anymore. You're not enough for me. So they get a taste of the cosmos and then have it ripped away. And they go back to this tedium, cool? And they're like, I got to go try it. Think about that scene at the end when the young girl's like, they've banished her from the cabin, whatever, and she's just like, she goes and meets this chubby, like, Latino Bob Ross looking type, and he's kind of like, and she's just sitting there like, oh my God, I can never have real sex again the rest of my... That, I think, is such a scary extra science fiction layer to this, is what if it takes away the one little, like... What do the French call it? Le petit mort. You take that small thing away that gives us like a tiny respite. It's ruined forever.
Well, that's what I like about this version of tedium. And like, this is the thing I think that's most expert about the movie, is that it's not about, sex is the final frontier of like pleasure of any kind, like that kind of... And we make this joke on the pod a lot just because, we're Hellraiser people and like that kind of stuff. But like, it is a really fascinating thing. I like that the metaphor of the alien being this thing that comes down and just demolishes everyone that it comes in touch with is not about like, the metaphor is not, I just want to experience life. Like, cause that is really like, that's the warmed over version of the metaphor. For me, I love that this metaphor is really like, there's stuff out there that we don't even realize. There's things beyond comprehension. And when we experience them, yes, like the gray just sets over our eyes when we come back to normal life. And you're just like, all right, fine, fuck it. Like, there's something really fascinating about that as this movie, because I don't think I see that enough. That should be the more explored thing than, she's a housewife and she's bottled up and she just wants to bang out. Like, for all the way, like, my wife is like, I don't know about Amy. Andrea is like obsessed with that.
Totally satisfied.
Movie that's about to
totally
come out.
Satisfied.
Okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, so that Emerald Fennell made that Wuthering Heights movie. Every time we see a trailer for it. So like the first time we saw a trailer for it, I think it might have been when we saw Sinners. I don't remember. But I actually like leaned over, I was like, is that a porno? What's going on? Are they making a porn with famous people? And she goes, no, that's Wuthering Heights. It's like, was it really that horny a book? Good Lord, for real? She's like, no. It's like a thing. Like they're making it like sort of extra steamy. I'm like, okay. And then like they watch the trailer again.
I was on the raw day.
Yeah, I'm like, are they just doing Euphoria season like -0? Because that that's like the precursor to Euphoria or whatever.
When they all just had mutton chops instead of crop tops.
Yeah. It was like, but I think that's but I kind of like this sort of, and maybe this is the first. This is 2016. Maybe this was one of the first ones that everyone saw. I was like, oh, we could like explore something other than just like buttoned up dipshits who don't know how to express themselves. Like, I like that this movie isn't just about like, I can't be myself. It's about, I've been so myself that the rest of this place kind of sucks now. Like there is something so exciting about that to me.
Yeah. Well, weirdly, one of the most sexually poignant lines I've ever heard in a movie came from Bridesmaids. Right. And it's when they're talking to the Reno 911 lady. Right. And she's sitting there and she's like, what, you guys don't have sex anymore? She's like, no, we have sex all the time. What we don't do anymore is like kiss. We don't like look at each other. We don't have that. And I was like, wow, what a profoundly interesting line. That's really, of all the things in that movie that's hilarious, that stuck with me, is that we get it done, right? We mechanically realize you got to you got to drain the swamp every now and again, as it were. But you're just kind of going through the motions,
Jesus
right?
Christ. Yeah.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. There's no you're
not wrong. I get it.
I'll look in my wife's eyes. Or how many times have you done this as a married person? You fall in this rut where it's like, okay, we'll put the kid to bed. We'll go have sex. It starts the same way. This. It's like you're going through a motion. You fall into a routine. It's not like in the movies often where it's a woman who has no sex and then she bangs the pool guy and she's getting fucking thrown over. Like we saw, they're fucking knocking everything over, throwing shit out of the fridge.
You know what?
Like movie
like
sex.
Last year, we watched Baby Girl. Like that's a great example of like, oh, that's the movie that I think you would expect the Untamed to be.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Like, because again, we're just exploring, not just because there's a fucking alien dick in the actually, it's weird.
And actually, it's a really small part of the film for a alien sex movie. Really tiny part.
It's
well,
like,
really big part
it's
on a
huge,
tiny narrative.
But,
part.
you know, it's a tiny narrative. Narratively, it's not as big a factor as you would think narratively, but, you know, conventionally huge.
I mean, you really only see it in like the last like 10 minutes of the movie.
And the beginning, like that's it. Like again, when it like slithers out of her, I was like, "Whoa, what is the movie we're watching?" I actually, because I try not to like read about these before I watch them. You can see that
shit on TikTok, dude.
And I was like, "Okay, it's funny you said." Okay, there's a quick aside here. When I was in high school,
I knew this would be all asides this episode.
I mean, we're talking about a giant alien penis that pleasures women. Like, I'm sorry,
and men.
There's really look. The movie itself is great, and everyone should watch it. But like, this pod is obviously going to be about all the asides we have of huge dongs. No, there was a guy in our high school, and it was like one of these fables. You know, it's whenever anyone like talks about this, there was a guy. They were like, "Oh, dude, he has a 12-inch dick," and I was like, "What? That's a foot." And I pulled out a ruler. I was like, "That's that big?" And I was like, there's no fucking way. And they're like, the reason everyone knew is like, oh, he's a wrestler. I was like, hold on. He's a wrestler and has a 12-inch dick? Yeah. There's no way no one would be able to see that and be like, I'm not wrestling that guy. Good Lord. Like, he has a python in his pants and he doesn't even, like, it's terrifying. Like, there's. You don't want
that guy to hit a spladle on you.
But then I'm like, nobody wants to get choke held by him and the anaconda
the rest of us wrestlers had to be like, all right, everyone's just going to know I have a average to below average penis, but I'm going to beat someone's ass because of it.
Well, I was like, that would make sense. I was like, what does this guy have left to prove? Why is he even a wrestler?
Yeah.
He has a 12-inch penis. Sports? That's great.
Why doesn't he just live on mattresses being fanned with feathers and fed grapes? Why is he moving?
And, grapes and chocolate. Like, why is he doing anything?
He get that thing caught in a car door and ruin his whole ride. What are we doing? He can QB1 himself.
The reason, besides wrestling, the other reason this came up was because his girlfriend was this very, very small, petite gal who was one of the cheerleaders. And all of us would spend out this is when I was playing basketball and stuff like that. We would spend hours. We would spend hours at practice doing this, like going through this exercise. Like, the mechanics, because that's like 12 inches flaccid. The mechanics of girth, terrifying. Like this is the most horrifying thing I've ever thought of in my life.
This is an aside. We'll stop here. Just Google the mountain from Game of Thrones and his wife, who's like 5'0".
This is exactly what we were thinking about.
It looks wrong.
We were just like,
it looks wrong.
You're like, that's weird. Okay, movie.
Yeah, these things exist in the world. That's what we're getting at.
I don't know what else to say. It's the first thing I thought of when I saw this in the movie. I was like, wow.
You're having fucking flashback high school drama.
Dude, it's weird. I don't know how else to explain it. It's the weirdest thing.
I saw the biggest dick I've ever seen in my life in 6th grade. It was not an illegal thing. It was a classmate of mine.
Yeah, you definitely need to qualify this, but okay, cool. Okay. Classmate. Okay.
It was the first time we had to take showers, and I had a locker next to the kid who had something going on, learning disability, whatever, something like that. And the rest of us were trying to wait it out so the bell would ring and we wouldn't have to take showers. And we had a little German gym teacher, Hans Polens. And he just walks out and he's like, "You will not leave without shower." He actually didn't even have an accent. I just added that in my brain.
That's good.
And so the kid next to me, who his name was Adam, I won't say anything else, but he had some disabilities, whatever. And he was right next to me, and he always wore his shorts like way up here. We all had the gym uniform we had to wear. He ripped those things down, and I swear to God, it fell out like I've never seen before. Like, if you have a normal dick, it's like just there.
Like it unfurled.
Yeah, it's like on your balls and shit. It literally went whap and hit his thigh. and probably like if the microphone's
made a sound
like that far from my face because I was sitting down on the bench and I just whipped over to the sound and I just went, ah! And I was like, there's no way I'm pulling my tiny 6th grade Picheline out next to this fucking gargantuan and all of us. And it was one of those, it's like, hey man, God can take with one hand and give with the other. And I was just like, I've never seen a bigger dick in my life, not on the internet. That might be the world's biggest dick. 6th grade PE. All right, enough of that. There was a movie that happened.
I know, the movie happened, but like, this is just, there's no way to not bring it up. We've talked about dicks now for like 20 minutes and we're all good.
Yeah.
Sexual repression. Not really a problem in this
cinema,
movie.
And we'll go back to dicks, terrifying dicks.
Well, I think that's what's interesting. The sexual repression in this movie is not really sexual repression. It's more like, sexual revulsion's the wrong word, but it's like not willing to, like, not sexual honesty. That's what it is. Like, there's a level of dishonesty that all these characters sort of have with themselves. And like, especially like the guy who like kind of can't, the guy who's closeted, and Veronica. Veronica's the one who's banging the tentacle in the beginning. Like she's actually honest, but she doesn't know how to come to grips with the fact that she can't have it once she has it.
Yeah, she thought she was special in the universe.
Insane.
She's not.
Yeah.
Well, I think sexual honesty is a really interesting way to say it. Because again, we lose the kind of movie sex. And what this is it's, to me, the alien represents this like greater cosmic thought, this kind of spiritual sexual thought that you can get good enough at sex, right?
Right.
To where it'll fix all your ails, right? I think almost everything we've done as a human society comes back down to sex at some level. Like all of these guys that are out raiding our streets and shooting civilians, right? Those guys probably are not going home to a wife who's gotten her back blown out. You know what I mean? They probably are not like the kid I was in 6th grade.
Have you seen? Yeah, especially
thickness.
Yeah, that guy tripping on the ice. That guy went home and just like sadly masturbated.
Yeah, just the saddest. Well, it's like, guys don't get as rich as Elon and Jeff Bezos because they're just sexually happy. Like, that's just not a thing that exists. But they can buy it, right? And so I think the alien represents this idea of this kind of, eventually you will unlock a kind of sex. Whether that's you'll be fucking everyone and they're going to talk about you like you're this legendary cocksmith, or you'll find the one person and you guys will have great sex forever. But this movie really digs into all of that, right? There's the young girl who thinks she's found this alien and she's special among humanity. She's not. And she goes back to the sad fucking Latino Bob Ross. There's the two gay guys at the core of the story, right? Which we'll get to in a minute. That's a wild addition to the story. They kind of get destroyed by this creature, right? Which is a bizarre, weird, like their closetedness destroying them, which is a strange kind of thing in the middle of the movie. And then there's the housewife who has sex because that's what she's supposed to do to keep her shitty husband at bay. And then she's the one that the alien kind of accepts and seems like it's going to go on with a little more. It's very bizarre. Right. But what it is it's this alien is an answer to prayers that we humans will just never get from sex. But we think we can. It's such an all-important thing in our lives. And this movie is just saying, it's almost as hopeless a dream as hoping you can find this creature somewhere.
Yeah. That is the kind of crux of the argument as to why I think this is sort of, not to say the other movies we're watching are bad or like bland or bad for like this way, but I do think that's what makes this sort of head and shoulders above the other ones, is because it's that conversation rather than, oh, these people never get banged. It's again, I know it's sort of childish, but then again, so is high school. I think that this kind of conversation, like I said, that sexual honesty is such a much more interesting thread to pull than, oh, we're married and don't have sex anymore. Like there's nothing that hasn't, there's no stone that has not been unturned about that concept, I think. And so I like that this movie is sort of exploring something ultimately completely different. And that also could be culture. Yeah. Like, again, this is a Mexican filmmaker, so maybe that's not something that even comes into their thinking. It might be also, again, we're in America, we're puritanical dipshits who
the movie feels
all
way more open to expressing sex than most American films. And again, I think what it does is you have this kind of conceit of sex with an alien, right? Under the Skin, which we're going to be doing, similar thing, but just done very differently, right? I think both of these movies make the smart choices. It's not just Barbarella, right? Or whatever, right? Like space fucking, right? Whatever we, fantasy you thought that movie would be, which it's not.
Yeah.
What this does is it really gets into the human stuff. So this story, there's an alien in a barn, right? There's some kind of like half-ass scientist who's studying it and his wife. They're way out in the middle of nowhere. They always have one person who walks very far through nature, right? Which again is reinforcing this, state of sex is this natural euphoric spot, right? Almost this Garden of Eden they have out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But we see all these people in their daily lives. And this is where the movie sings to me, right? Because we've got the husband who's kind of a bullied construction worker, right? They're wrestling. He's trying to be tough, whatever. We've got the nurse who's being a good guy. It seems like he's trying to, fucking run game on Veronica. Veronica, we know what's up with her and the wife. The movie immediately just lets you know this is going to be a completely different kind of human story because the wife's husband, the bullied construction worker, is fucking her brother.
Yeah.
So there's this closeted, not only is it a closeted gay story, but it's like, also this, he's cheating with his wife's husband.
Yeah.
Which is such a fucking scandalous scoundrel of a move for a guy who seems, through the movie, really nice, really kind of well-adjusted, got a good job, seems very helpful when Veronica comes in at the start and says she was bit by a dog because the alien hurt her.
Yeah.
I think what it's getting at is don't assume the gay nurse is on a pedestal. Don't assume the bullied, closeted gay husband is. The housewife, the young, beautiful maiden from the fairy tale version of the story. These are all just people. And being people who fuck, that's messy. There's no version of that that's not messy and gross and selfish. And that's what the movie gets at. And I don't know what you made of it. I thought it was so interesting that they kept cutting the legs out of all these characters. That they all felt kind of morally dubious, but I still empathize so completely with these characters.
Well, I think what's interesting when they do this in movies, because this has become much more common now because of the last 10 years of our lives. I think, like, not even moral duplicity, but I don't know how else to put it, being so human and so flawed. Like, I think other than Marvel movies, people have been in movies about there's people who do bad things who. It
reminds me of the 70s. The 70s, this is how they made movies. It was just messy, troubled people.
It was just people. Like even movies that are not known. Oh my God, the Redford movie. I can't remember the name of it right now. The one he won the Oscar for. It's not Normal People, but I'm just not even thinking about it.
Oh, Ordinary People.
Ordinary. Thank you. Ordinary People is a great example. Like messy. Just very messy, and I agree.
Kramer versus Kramer, messy.
Kramer versus Kramer.
They're just people being messy.
They're just people. It's a messy time. Not only that, you can also walk out of a movie like that, and I felt like the way with the Untamed. You can walk out of a movie not rooting for anyone because, psychologically, we all walk into a movie rooting for a character. It's just you glob onto a character, you journey with them. You can walk out of these movies like those are great examples. I think The Untamed is a good example. Movies like Patrick Brice did another one called The Overnight. There's other things where you just sort of walk out of movies. You're like, I don't think anybody was great. I still enjoyed the movie, but I'm not rooting for anyone because it's not it's not even a moral obligation. It's not even a moral objection or an ethical objection. What it is you're just watching people live. And I think a lot of the time that's lost. Is when you watch people just live their lives. Sometimes people don't want to watch those movies, and I understand. That's not. Look, trust me, everyone needs some escape. But my parents, my mother and father bring this up a lot with me when I've talked about movies that I've watched. They're like, "How can you watch depressing movies, scary movies, that kind of thing?" It's well, because that's not how I watch it. It unlocks another piece of me, so I think about it that way. I don't necessarily watch a sad movie. We watched Hamnet. I don't watch a movie like Hamnet. Yeah, I don't watch a movie like Hamnet and take it so I watch a movie like Hamnet and try to feel something on my own. Like, I think this is like such an important thing about great like independent movies, but also just great filmmaking in general. And The Untamed is no different, where it's not about how you set a character up for an audience. It's about how you set a character up personally for you as a filmmaker. And I think Amat Escalante does such a great job of just making a movie about these characters rather than making a movie about characters for an audience. That's a huge. I mean, I think there's a huge difference there. There's a chasm for filmmakers where you're making a movie for an audience, or you're making characters for an audience, rather than like just making characters for the movie you're making.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Makes sense.
Humans are just messy bitches. We just are.
Yeah,
we're sloppy as hell. I do things right. I have this whole list of like, it's one of these thoughts like, who's the man I want to be, right? And you're like, all right, and what does he do? And you're like, all right, I'll start trying to work my way to that. And every day, dude, just why am I eating junk food? Mm-hmm. Why am I know I got something to do. Why am I laying on the couch at like fucking noon? Like just weird shit. We're all self-destructive, right? You know, you're married, but you stare a little longer, right, at someone, or you're sending text or flirty, like you're flirting with the way. All this shit. People are fucking messy, dude. That's why people get divorced. That's why there's affairs. That's why, people leave their kids, dude. People are fucking complicated and messy. And I feel like Hollywood has fallen into this trap of, it's such a base core misunderstanding of the titular note of saves the cat, right? And I believe in that when they use Serpico or something, right? Like find a guy who's like kind of an on the edge 70s type character, but show him saving a cat so the audience knows that somewhere inside there's a good guy. Cool. Right. That doesn't mean that your character has to be a fucking noble knight who's always going to save the cat. Maybe they save one cat because they know they threw 4 more back, and this will, let them. Like, I feel like in Hollywood, we've just, because movies have gotten so expensive, we've just had to sanitize them to the point where you just don't want that one thing that becomes a TikTok trend about, oh, we were insensitive to this, or what a weird point of view in 2026. And again, it's not, it inherently makes it not feel real. We don't know people. Right. You don't know people. I don't know people that are all one thing.
Right. Well, I think to the point you're making and the point of this movie, in 2026, the studio system, and I think I've said this for like a decade now. For me, there's always a couple of options. It's the easy writer trend. There's an original low budget movie that resets the genre, resets the paradigm. Like it shifts everything over one. So right now we're at this apex of studio filmmaking. Netflix is about to buy Warner Brothers, all this shit. And the auspice of AI writing movies is a great example. Like Ben Affleck said this in an interview and I thought it was fucking brilliant. And I never say that about Ben Affleck other than referring to Batman.
Except for Phantoms, yo.
Phantoms. No, he was like, here's why AI is not going to work for screenwriting and why screenwriting has to be done by people. AI is a generative tool that essentially reads the middle of everything. So what you're going to do if you write AI scripts is it's going to be a movie for everyone that no one wants to see. Like that's exactly what this is. And I think what's cool in 2026, and yeah, dude, the world fucking sucks. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. Like the world is fucking tragic and terrifying right now. And shout out to that guy who gave us a review saying we're too political. You're welcome. Every point of view though has to be considered right now. Like I think that you like for movies, not for like reality and common sense. For movies, you have to consider a lot of point of views. Like you have to just be like, there's a thought that has to go into that. And there's a thought of originality that comes from somebody who's thinking this kind of thing. There's a thought of originality from someone who makes a movie about the honesty and dishonesty in a sexual relationship, whether it functions or not, and how an otherworldly concept like honesty, if we're really looking at the movie and like what the alien metaphor is, for me, it's a lot about honesty. So like if we're really looking at it, the foreign concept of honesty is really kind of like what makes this movie special. And I think that honesty is what's so hard to get out of movies because, yeah, man, movies are put through filters and test audiences and screenings and all kinds of opinions.
And
everybody's got to put their hand because
layers and layers and layers of horseshit. And if you make a movie, we talk about this a lot, the finances. Anytime you take money from someone, a lot of money, they might have a say in what happens.
They might have an opinion.
Their name's on the fucking check. Anywho, what I think you're getting at, though, right? Or what I wanted to lock in on what you said. I thought you made several good points. The alien representing honesty, right? I somewhat agree with. What I think it is, though, is not honesty as we define it. I think it is the primal biological imperative.
Oh, I like
what's
that.
happened to society, right, is that we are hardwired to fuck all the time, and we like it. And it's this little thing where, for but a moment, we feel like gods, right? When you fucking nut, and you're like, ugh, right? La petite mort, like a little part of your bad has died. You're like, yeah, right, yeah, I'm here. It's this great moment of peace, and then you're like, I wish I would have lasted
That's
more
the
than
thumbnail, by the way.
Got 2.5 minutes. Okay. Like, then you start unpacking it. And you're like, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought. Hopefully she came. I don't know. I did. I won the race. No. All these fucking complicated things, right?
That is like a really hard married thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it's this like biological imperative. And what that alien is that you walk through nature, far away from society. And yes, there's a weird couple there in a shed. What you're doing is you're walking into this barn and you're getting back to basics, which is just getting it fucking ripped open, dude. Pipes, holes, back,
pipes
broken. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. When we see the alien do it, it's kind of an enveloping thing. We don't see it like gyrating and flopping. It's like it's enveloping your whole self.
No, it's a mechanism. It is purely mechanical.
Yeah, and so I think what it is it's this. The movie's taking us and it's saying, here are all these extra human things we've added to make this biological thing so much more complicated and potential of hurting us, right? Like, why would the brother fuck his sister's husband, right? Why do people have sex with their siblings' partners? Why do people cheat on people that they said they wouldn't to? Right? Your body's telling you to do it. It's just like we've added all these layers, and this alien comes back and just reminds us of all the extra shit we've added that just make it harder and all these traps and dangers.
That's what's interesting, though, about the Veronica character, too, is because the first time we meet her, she's like, it's interesting. Like, the flaw in Veronica's sexual logic is that she is so... her emotions, her sexually excited state, like it's so. I've said sexual way too much in this pod.
This is a hard one to get around. That
it is. It's so predicated though on a one-sided conversation. Like I think this is the thing that you're getting at too is sex in a couple. Like we were saying, like we're like, oh well, I got off, so I guess we're all good. Like there's layers like. Okay, that would leave a frustrated partner if they're not going to be able to get their rocks off too. Like there's a level to that.
You got to make that up.
Yeah,
this isn't like college where you can just be like, peace,
peace. Hey, meet me at the dining hall. Sweet. No, it's like a different thing. Veronica's character is so selfish in that regard because she has no need to give to the other side. So when that alien bites her, I think that's the actually really fascinating thing is that's the first time like. Oh, there is a transaction here. It's not just me taking pleasure, taking. There is some form of transaction. Whether that's what the violence is to regardless, it doesn't matter. Like, there's a toll. There's something that is missing here, and you're forgetting that other side of the conversation. So I think that's what makes the Veronica character sort of even more interesting is when she not only like yearns for this again, she's not even yearning for like the sexual pleasure, the thrill of it. She's yearning for the fact that she has control. Because then she goes and has, like you said, unassumingly bad sex with Bob Ross. And you're just like, damn, dude, like but that's like the other layers that she doesn't care about having sex with the person or the thing. She's just in a relationship with herself, with her own sort of addiction to pleasure at that point. It's almost Cronenberg.
That's the thing with the creature, right? Is that it doesn't feel like we're giving a lot back. Like it's putting us in this euphoric state. And her Veronica's issue is that this has become a very toxic relationship. She is at actual physical harm danger. That this partner, the alien, is hurting her and might hurt her way worse to where the old couple's like, dude, you can't see this thing anymore. Like it's at its limit with you. And she can't stop because how do you go back? how do you go back when you've had this ultimate pleasure, right?
Right.
It's kind of the more tame version of what you were saying with Hellraiser, right? Which is Uncle Frank goes so far that he's literally fucking ripped asunder. And that's it, right? These people don't have that. They don't get the nip clamps. They just get, the nip tentacle licks or whatever. So they don't. It's weird. It's weird. But
gross.
We see that this alien, when it's done with us, right, it starts physically harming us, and how we still can't get away from it, right? That's Veronica's thing. Veronica meets her ultimate demise because after the Bob Ross thing, she's like, yeah, this ain't working for me. She goes back and the thing fucking kills her, right? The mom finds her dead at the house.
Right.
So one of the most powerful images in the movie is when the brother, because Veronica has to find a replacement. That's the other thing. Veronica brings the nurse over, right? And he gets murdered. We don't even know if he's gotten a couple pleasures because we see them at the bar and he's all happy and he won't return the brother-in-law's text anymore, which leads to all this kerfuffle.
Right.
Seeing him left in that pond, right? And then bringing him out, and it becomes this kind of imagery of what can happen to the gay person, right? The gay body, that society or this angry other man, it just killed him because of his gayness, right? Sure. Even though that's not it, it becomes this very powerful image that we have to grapple with, that these pursuits of pleasures, there's real fleshy toll to that, right? And I thought that scene, and again, I don't know where you settled on this. I don't know if the movie's even trying to make a statement about the closeted gayness of these guys.
I don't know.
Because the one brother doesn't seem like he's closeted. The brother-in-law does. But it's like when they found his body in there, it's like, that's a powerful, like, real-world image. Yeah. We've seen images of gay people hurt because of what they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the movie was really unpacking that, or it just wanted to, like, put a strong image out there, and we have to do that.
I feel like it's the latter, personally. And that's probably another reason I liked this movie a lot, was because it did not assign me the morality or the ethics of the moment. Like, it's just like, do your own work. I do. There is like the trend of movies doing that and sort of leaving that gray area as the movie. That works for me. I know it doesn't work for a lot of people. A lot of people do not like that kind of, they don't like to have to walk out and have that conversation, I guess.
Oh, that's my favorite, dude. You stay in the parking lot like an extra 30 minutes just unpacking
you just sit there
a movie.
And I always
love it.
I always go back to it's kind of apt for the Untamed. It's exactly what, like, Andrea and I went when we were still dating, like probably like 6 months into us dating. We went to go see Revolutionary Road in the theater. And it was that fucking DiCaprio Winslet thing. We got out and we got in the biggest fucking fight we've ever had. Like, I mean, it was like, and we've we've had a kid. We've screamed at each other about, having a kid, money, living where we are, like everything under the sun. We've never had a bigger fight than about that movie. And I realized, like, damn, dude, that movie fucking rules in a way that I didn't expect it to, because it literally just makes you go, all right, enjoy, have that conversation on the way home.
Well, now it's also an iconic movie in your life because it almost ended your now marriage.
Which is fucking nuts. But, like, that's like, again, there's like a crazy cool thing about this concept of send them out talking. Like, I think that's the way, that's a great movie. That's a great movie that makes you want to have a podcast with your friend where you talk about, 12-inch dicks you saw when you were like 16 years old and 30-inch alien dogs. Like, there are things in this world like that just ask of you a little more. And I think that's what makes movies like this so much more thrilling and so much more worth watching. Because, yes, the theater, the theater is a great place to go to turn your brain off sometimes, to see a movie, but turning your brain off is not what you're doing. Like, I hate that concept of like, oh, I just got to go turn my brain off. It's escape. Like, you're escaping outside, but you're still going to think. You're still going to consider the movie. That if you're just like sitting there not thinking about anything, then you probably went and saw the Melania documentary, and that's your business, and I don't give a shit.
Oh,
but pew, like,
pew, pew. Another 1-star review incoming.
I can't wait. There's something so cool though about a movie like this.
If Melania reviewed our pod and gave us a 1-star, I would be
God,
fucking pumped.
I would be so excited. I hope that guy comes back and reviews the pod again. The guy who gave us like 2 stars and said we were political. It's truly one of my favorite
You can tell
reviews.
That guy won because it's really gotten under everyone's skin.
It was a really funny review. Like, I thought it was great.
Again, the only thing that made me mad was not that he said that, because I get it. Conservative people don't want anything in their bubble that doesn't fit.
Of course.
When you're doing it because we're talking about The Long Walk and you don't see a political undertone to that, that's where I'm like, all right, man. If we were doing SpongeBob, and I was like, SpongeBob reminds me of the tyranny of ice. I get it. All right. Riddle me this.
Go.
So we do this. The gay brothers found dead, right? This launches us into the sister finds out, right? The mom finds out. There's this horrifying scene where she has to testify in front of him while he's in jail, and the judge is just there at like a school teacher desk. And he's like, yeah, just tell me all about your shitty husband. He's right behind me staring at you. That's fine. I thought the scenes when that guy got out of jail were some of the most harrowing of the movie. His parents, his grandma went and stole her kids and wouldn't give them back. She throws a rock through the door and is like, I will fucking murder you. Give me my kids back. She gets them. Mm-hmm. They pick up the son, and he's all over the tabloids, right? He's like a closeted gay guy who killed his lover, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, you brought shame on the family. You got to leave. You can't be here anymore. There's a scene where like the dad just comes in and smacks him and they cry. He's playing with the gun. He's got antlers all over his room. This leads inevitably to him going and confronting his wife, right? Mm-hmm. And he shows up and just immediately decides to physically menace her, right? I don't get the hint that he had been abusive to her previous in the relationship, right? Obviously not a good partner. What did you make of adding this element to the story? The kind of ownership of the disgraced husband, the violence of the disgraced husband, the dad who now cares a lot about his kids, even though he was clearly willing to roll the dice on this whole family. What did you make of adding this part to the film?
That's a great question. I feel like you see this a lot in movies about, like, you see this a lot in movies about, like, absentee parents or, absentee lovers as well to that point. I think that the concept of, like, that too little too late thing really is sort of this, it's an interesting narrative shift, but not in a way that I think, like, delineates the movie or derails anything. Like, I think it's like trying to put on the mask that you never wore. You're like, oh, I could just be this guy then. Like, fine, I'll do this. Like, getting physical, like, when he gets physical with her, I agree. It is I know the use of the prison thing. When he gets physical, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, where are we?
Oh, it's
where's
awful.
This landing?
And I'm like, why Burris as himself and shoots his own leg.
Which again, I think I didn't send it to you. I forgot to text you this. I was writing it and I couldn't find the joke, but I actually did almost write. I was like, did he just Plaxico Burris? Is that how this movie ends? Yep. Like,
he Burris himself. It happened.
I do remember writing that and be like, nah, forget it. I think it was probably like 3 a.m. or something like that because I was rewatching it right before we were supposed to do it. I was like, forget it. I just deleted it. But there's something so fake and put on about that kind of veneer. Like, you're supposed to, like, what are you trying to prove? Like, there's not, like, especially for this kind of movie that doesn't do any sort of assumption about gender bias, anything like that. Like, there's this really fascinating undercurrent of, like, not doing that. So for it to end in that, towards the end, for it to go that direction with him, I actually think is really fascinating because it essentially locks in this gender bias then that we all are going to have towards him. And not only that, it also makes him this almost sort of just makes him this even more pathetic person. You're just like, you could never be honest with yourself. And now the honesty you're choosing to lock into is like the worst part of yourself. Like the worst version of you.
Yes, that's a good way to say it, right? Is that his sexual honesty in wanting to have sex with the brother, right?
The brother.
Bad target. But he was a gay guy who got married because that's what was expected of him. And his parents had these standards and they have to have grandkids. Whatever. This guy was gay. And maybe bisexual, whatever. He wanted to have sex with men. And because of the standards of what he was supposed to be, he went the wrong way. And I think when his dad comes in and smacks him, that's this reinforcement of kind of this toxic father-son, like, you're a reflection on me. You're a reflection on your mother. You have to be a man the way that we raised you, blah, blah. You're in a room surrounded by dead animals, right? You are a man. And so I think in that moment, he internalizes with that smack and the hug. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do, which is his dad saying, you go fucking get what's yours and fix this. And they're willing to they just want him to live the lie and will accept it. And I think he's just returning all this pain that he's always gone through. Again, not excusing.
That's a good way to put it.
But I think you see that this kind of multiplication effect of the trauma, of the repression, which again, that's what a lot of this movie's getting at is what are these? We all just want to have sex. We want to feel euphoria. We want to feel loved, which I don't think this alien is giving them. They do talk about how it chases your blues away. And I was like, well, yeah, if you're getting your fucking complete system drained, no doubt that feels great. Hard to go home and get mad about season 8 of Game of Thrones if you're getting.
It's one of those things. You're like, have you heard of sex? That's what it is. Like, I'm like, yeah.
But sex also
not
makes
a hard
people
thing.
Insane and makes them crazy. Like we just did Insomnia. Robin Williams, right? He tries to kiss that girl and she just laughs. Like, how dare you think you could fuck me? And he kills her. So I think we see this duplicitous nature. She, of course, drags him out to the alien and lays him on the mattress. And again, it's kind of this weird. Like, I feel like the gay metaphors in this don't fully connect for me. Because it's almost like now you're going to get punished by fucking gay sex. And I was like,
I mean, I don't call it. Yeah, I mean, like.
Or is it like the alien's just like he's picking up the pheromones of his new lover who's like, oh, you want me to handle this? Okay. Death by snoo snoo. It feels weird, though. I do think the gay story in this was not handled. Or maybe, again, it could be a cultural thing, but to me it felt like I was like, oh, you're leaving some messy threads out there for me. Which, again, this is a movie about messy bitches. I get it. That I don't know that I loved. I did love the finale, though, when they take the bodies out in the wheelbarrow and they roll it down the hill, and she goes, wow, the bodies are really piling up. Yeah. And it's this reinforcer of what humans will do, what will look past, what we'll ignore, to have these brief moments of pleasure that take us out of the tedium of our everyday lives, the emptiness, the loneliness, the hollowness. This lady has 2 kids at home and is still going out and fucking with this thing.
I can forgive, like, kind of a clunky, if that's what it is, a sort of a clunky, like,
the movie feels so sure-handed. I don't know that I want to put it as clunky, but messy. I don't know that I found good answers for it.
Yeah, that's actually a great way to put it. I think for a movie that gives pretty good non-answers, for that to be like the only answer feels a little funky. But that ending, that's an ending, man. That's how you end this kind of movie.
That's an ending.
Like, that's an ending. Like, it doesn't go out, it goes out with a whimper. And, like, that's a really cool way to do that. In a way that I don't think most people would expect.
And to wrap up, it's a just stunningly beautiful movie. The writing is great. It's messy. It's complicated. It deals with the big questions. And it has this layer of genre, right? Kind of sci-fi horror with it. But that's such an addition. It's not the show. The show is just watching people grapple with this world and these rules and these roles we put on ourselves. Yeah. It's so... Like, honestly, you could take the monster out of this movie and it would be a fantastic fucking movie. But again, this is how you get people to watch dramas, is you put some fucking genre in there. I thought this movie was stunning. I'm actually shocked that this wasn't a bigger hit. I'm shocked that I was able to go this long without seeing it, that people don't talk about it all the time. I think this is an incredible piece of work.
I agree. I think it's strange.
I can't believe it's been so under the radar.
Well, you know what's interesting is, the director, Amat Escalante, so he won the Silver Lion for this, which is the directing award you get at the Venice Film Festival. he did this movie, and then the next thing he did was like 4 years later, he was directing Narcos, Mexico.
Really?
So yeah. So like, you know, I think that's another thing too that's kind of fascinating about like sometimes the way these, especially in the streaming era, how these careers go is you see someone who's made like a great movie, and that's like a calling card you can use for like 4 years of getting maybe some steady work. Again, this is also short notice IMDb. There's a short notice Wikipedia search, but like the most impressive thing he's probably done is this bigger movie. But like the rest of them, like, yeah, he directed 8 episodes of Narcos over a 3-year period. I think, you know, maybe that's what he was wanting to do the whole time, and maybe he's not a genre guy. But to your point, maybe he did write a fucking great drama script and then injected a little genre, and now this is what we get, which is a great fucking movie.
It's the band thing, right? Like with bands, so many bands have a great first album, and it's that sophomore slump because you've been waiting to tell a story, your story, for so fucking long, and it's got all your bullets, all your thoughts, and then you go to do the next one, you're like, oh fuck, what do I do now? Do I do a career movie? Do I have to do the same thing? Like that kind of thing, right? And again, even aside from him, I don't know why we as a horror community have not raised this movie up. It feels like the perfect kind of movie that was happening at the time, like with the A24ification of movies. This feels like it should have definitely been on that fucking rising tide. I just think more people should go see it. This is on Canopy, which is crazy. If you have a library card, you can watch this movie for free through your local library, which God bless the libraries.
God bless.
Alex,
yeah,
what was the most messed up moment in The Untamed?
I know this is kind of cheap because we just talked about it. I do think the most messed up thing is sort of throw a body on the pit, be like, boy, it's really piling up. There's like some mundanity to that that's so fucking wrong for like what else goes on in this movie. But it has like this almost kitchen sink drama quality to it that I really latched onto. And I'm like, well, that's a fucked up way to end this movie. These are fucked up people. Nothing will ever be right again. Like I really dug that. That was great.
Yeah, there's something about her getting blown out by an alien that's just totally wrapping her up and laying waste to her areas. And then it's like, hey, put my husband and that other sad girl in a wheelbarrow. Let's go dump them down the hill, wrapped in plastic. It's unceremonious. They're not hiding it. They're just like, this is as natural as anything can be. And it's really dark. It's a really dark moment to end the film on. If I had to pick the most messed up moment, I think there's only one very obvious, clear-cut thing that we have not discussed yet in the film.
Yep.
They talk about how this creature landed in a piece of the meteor, right, that we saw at the start of the film. And that from there, its effects have radiated out, that animals are drawn to it, people are drawn to it. We go out and watch this dog run out to the little crater that this alien left when it landed on Earth, and watch a Noah's Ark orgy is the only way I can explain it. There are birds with their cloacas together. There's Gila monsters.
I'll give you that.
There's 2 chihuahuas humping. Just a full fucking Noah's Ark cadre of what the bottom of Noah's boat must have been. Just in that fucking raised sea, that ship was rocking as all these animals were just butt fucking the shit out of each other. And we just watch all these animals fucking because they're in the vicinity of this sentient, penile alien. And I was like, that's just an insane addition to this movie. I don't know what it has to say. I don't know metaphorically if it's about, it's reminding us that sex is natural. Why this is in the movie, I don't know, but I'll never forget it.
Didn't want to ask the question. That's why. That's what it is.
There are some things you just see and you go, this is taboo. And I walk away.
There's some things you see and you're like, you know what? I'm walking away from that. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
That was none of
business.
my business.
Save it for Nat Geo.
I saw Planet Earth. I get what goes on. Walking away.
I was like, carnivores, their prey in one crater. It was a soup. It was just a nut soup down there. Insane. An insane little throwaway in the middle of this movie. That's it for The Untamed. Find this for free on Canopy. Find this for free on Tubi.
It's so good.
It's such an incredible film that everyone should know. Everyone should be able to talk about this film and enjoy it. To me, it had a very Del Toro kind of vibe. I really thought this was an incredible film.
That's part of that kind of new wave Mexican filmmaker genre. I love it.
Yeah, so incredible. Find the Untamed.
Great.
Find the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon page. Please help support this show. It'd mean the world to us. Find Mr. Cream Jeans on Indiegogo. You have to type it in. Get the perk where you can come to a film festival draft on this very pod. We've had a handful of people do that. We got to get those scheduled so you can see how much fun we're having. Help us get our first movie out in the world. Maybe we'll put an animal orgy in it. Who knows? That would fit nicely in Mr. Cream Jeans.
I think you kind of have one, but it's not quite an orgy.
Yeah, we've wrapped photography. No more animal handlers on set. Make sure you find Misfit Brain on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Please subscribe. Please share the shorts. That means the world to us. We'll see you next time.